Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers the Fourth Amendment, motorcycle lane splitting, and traffic stops, and is brought to us by Glazed Freedoms channel and One Bad Vets channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. This will be another double feature episode, so be sure to stick around for our coverage of both of today's interactions. On June 2nd, 2022, veteran Daryl Sample was taking a nap in his private residential quarters at a former nursing home in Panama City, Florida. The facility, which was zoned for so-called mixed use, was in the process of being converted into apartments, and the property owners, who lived in Nashville, Tennessee, hired Mr. Sample to live on the property and work as a security guard during construction. Before this date, Mr. Sample had multiple dealings with local law enforcement questioning his right to be on the property, so he went to the police station to inform them of his presence on the property. Captain Mark Larimore of the Panama City Police Department, who was dressed in plain clothes, was searching for a missing child when he saw Mr. Sample inside the building. He called for backup and was joined by Officer Ciccarelli and later Sergeant Richard Thor. The encounter that followed was captured by Officer Ciccarelli's body camera.
41,
the dog's asleep facing that way. He's on the couch. I said, you know what, I'll wait for somebody to get here. Face this dog to me.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't even make contact with him, but I wanted to make sure I had something to get a dog off of him.
You're back.
Get your dog on. Put him in that big closet. He's protecting you. This ain't your house. Well, I'm the one out here for the person that owns the place. Wait. Who owns it? You don't know the man? Mr. Bruce Stevenson.
The little one.
Okay. Come on. Turn your TV down. I'm working on that right now. We're doing work in my house, so you work on somebody. I don't need to. You don't? No, you just work in my house. I don't know this is your house. Well, you're up in here. This is commercial property. You gonna get ID or not? Huh? You gonna get ID for me if you're threatening me with my arrest? Hold on, sir. I told you. I'm working on that. No, don't allow me, sir. Sir, it's not. Don't look like you're working on it. Like you're doing smart. Let's do this, sir.
Hey, my work ain't on one.
Hey, sir, I got to get back. Seat. I got to get back. Can I have a seat? Can I do it with the water? How about right there? This ain't your house. This ain't your house. Where's your ID? Your ID.
It's probably out my right now. That's what I was trying to figure out what I need. Right now, you just I was taking a nap. I'm kind of like thrown off right now, sir. I can get you all the information you know that I got permission to do here.
1711 Panama,
I just told you, Mr. Wilson Stevenson. I can call you right now on the phone. If you give me the phone, I can call him right now. You can call him by looking up who owns the property. He'll tell you who's supposed to be here.
You say your ID's in your car?
Yes, I've done shown many cops of this building that I've been supposed to be here. Huh?
Is it unlocked?
What?
Your car?
I don't know if my car is unlocked right now.
Where's your ID going to be at?
It'll be if you're looking at on my dash, my CD, it should be right next to the CD. If it's not on me right here or in my room right now.
All right.
So, hey sir, you can come out this back door right here. I can work you right to the car, bro, easy.
Is your back going to hurt you if you do?
No, I have no problems with you showing how things. I have no more. I'm and stuff. I'm right now. You just worked in my house right here.
As far as I know, it's not our house.
I know. I understand.
Because we've not been told. We've been told extra patrol before. Just don't let the door shut all the way or we won't be able to get in. So you don't have a key to your house?
That door doesn't. It's over the other door where y'all came in.
You see where we're going with this?
Yes, I understand.
It's kind of unusual.
Captain Larimore and Officer Ciccarelli enter the property without a warrant, place Mr. Sample in handcuffs, and walk him outside of the building. While Mr. Sample would have a strong argument that his living quarters should be considered a home, not a commercial property, even if it was a purely business property, it is unlikely that a court would determine that the officer's warrantless entry was lawful. In general, the Fourth Amendment does protect citizens from unreasonable police intrusions onto commercial property. As the Supreme Court concluded in the 1967 case of C versus City of Seattle, quote, "The businessman, like the occupant of a residence, has a constitutional right to go about his business free from unreasonable official entries upon his private commercial property." The court also determined that, now quoting again, "the basic component of a reasonable search under the Fourth Amendment, that it not be enforced without a suitable warrant procedure, is applicable to business as well as to residential premises." In other words, law enforcement officers typically need a warrant to enter areas of commercial property that are not held open to the public, with a few exceptions. First, officers may enter the property if they received consent from the property owner or an authorized individual. Additionally, officers may enter commercial property without a warrant in so-called exigent circumstances, meaning situations that demand immediate action and cannot wait for a warrant, such as hot pursuit of a fleeing felon, the potential destruction of evidence, an immediate threat to life or safety, or a medical emergency. We have discussed Fourth Amendment protections for businesses in greater detail in a previous episode of ATA, and I've included a link to this episode in the description down below if you're interested in learning more about this topic. But for this interaction, it is important to understand that a court would likely conclude that the officer's warrantless entry into the property was unlawful, as they lacked consent from the property owner or an authorized individual. And although they suspected Mr. Sample of trespassing, this alone likely did not amount to exigent circumstances that would justify entry without a warrant.
1711. We're going to be out front.
Sorry, that's CB. CB. You see here on my dash? The CB. See where I'm going? Behind the second steering. I see. Right there. Well, this is the first time I've been out. I was looking for a little girl.
So about a month and a half ago, two other officers were in there screaming, yelling, "Hey, if you're in there, show up." And you're in that one locked room and wouldn't come out.
That wasn't me. Because I can tell you right now, for the last couple months,
Same vehicle. All your
stuff.
stuff's in there. Are you the person is this your registered owner vehicle?
Yes, Mr. Sample. Some people don't want to try this here. I'm saying I start telling what I'm doing. Well, where I'm coming to go.
Your vehicle's here, you're here.
Not all the time. Like I said, I had my phone until this officer got a little aggressive. I can prove that stuff, so.
You do what he or she tells you to do. Courthouse.
Right.
We've been told
you've got your opinion, and I'll just handle it later on a different way. So.
All right. Can we get somebody on the computer to find out who this is owned by right now? Because at the point it wasn't going to be sold and refurbished as those.
It was. They bought it over a year ago.
Telephone 219.
Go ahead. It belongs to a
Bar Daryl Martin Sample.
Stevenson. There's no phone number though.
We'll find something. Do you have his number offhand so we can call him? I'm going to go get his phone.
219, that's a correction.
I called Mr. Wilson Stevenson, that right there. I just talked to him today, and his son John and Todd.
All right, good. I'm glad to hear it. I will. I'll do it. All right. Well, we're going to make sure everybody knows that you've got him here. I'm pretty sure he knows now that if an officer ever asks for his ID, he's damn sure better get it. All right? Thank you. Bye. All right. Well, now we're straight. Well, we didn't get dog bit. Should I not arrest him for resisting, refusing to give his ID, or should I just let him go with a warning? What do you think? What would you like? Would you like to go to jail? Would you like for me to let you out of handcuffs?
4121 All right.
I think a warning's appropriate.
Warning's appropriate? You got a handcuff key on you?
Captain Larimore asks Officer Ciccarelli whether he thinks they should arrest Mr. Sample for resisting and refusing to provide his ID, or give him a quote-unquote warning, and Officer Ciccarelli opined that a warning would be more appropriate. Section 901.151 of the Florida statutes, which is referred to as Florida's stop and frisk law, authorizes officers to temporarily detain citizens they have reasonable suspicion to believe are involved in criminal activity in order to ascertain their identity and investigate the suspicious circumstances. Likewise, Section 843.02 of the Florida statutes makes it a crime to resist, obstruct, or oppose an officer, now quoting, in the lawful execution of any legal duty without offering or doing violence to the person of the officer. Courts in Florida have found that a citizen's refusal to identify can be the basis for a resisting an officer without violence charge in certain circumstances. For instance, in the 1998 case of KAC versus State, the 3rd District Court of Appeal of Florida concluded that an individual could be convicted of resisting for refusing to identify himself when he was under a legal obligation to do so. However, as we have discussed before here on ATA, even in states that have enacted so-called stop and ID laws, an officer cannot force someone to identify themselves unless they have reasonable suspicion to believe that the individual is involved in criminal activity. Here, Captain Larimore seems to have based his suspicions solely on the fact that Mr. Sample was inside the building, with no evidence that he did not have permission from the owner to be there. Accordingly, a court could certainly conclude that Mr. Sample was not required to identify himself in this situation, particularly given the fact that he was only quote-unquote detained as a result of the officer's seemingly unlawful entry into the property.
No, there's no door to lock. I don't understand I can get in.
It was locked the last time I was here.
I understand. Most of it should be unlocked. The only one, like I said, you busted that one down. The one by the laundry room, it's the only one that's really easy to get into.
That one?
No, not this one that run around the corner. Actually, can I get some information from you?
Yeah.
'Cause I got
196. Do you want us to close this call?
Ciccarelli and Sergeant Thor still 1012 speaking with him, but you can close it out with no action taken.
Super.
An incident number, and it's and the name and badge numbers of everyone. It was just you. I know my legal rights on certain things, and I do believe even what he said was wrong. So,
Okay. My name is Officer Ciccarelli, badge number 219.
219.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if it comes uninvestigated and there's nothing wrong, it's part of your policy, then that's how it be. But I don't believe that. Not to be thrown in handcuffs the way I was thrown in handcuffs, and hopefully that video will come out and show how aggressive he was. So, in my own spot, after I just got woken up, you saw it, I was just woken up from things, trying to explain things, and I'm worried about my dog was attacking people and this and that, you know. I'm a vet that just had things, so.
196 is his badge number. That's the captain.
Okay, he's the captain. That's what I'm talking about. So there should have been some kind of call for you guys to come out here to come into the building.
No.
So you just go around in the random buildings?
How many signs are out here? No trespassing. Okay.
So that means you guys are trespassing on property that you wasn't invited over to, correct?
I'm not here to...
I'm not either. I'm just kind of expressing where my concerns are with things. So these are things that I'll follow up about you guys' policies and laws, and we'll see if there was nothing done wrong, then hey, y'all know that I'm staying here, and they still there, go on. So let you know, guys, I'm the one here watching out for it, so you guys do. So, because every other officer comes, and come on the door, look at someone there knocking, I come to the door, and I have a great conversation with them. But having cops come into a building that's supposed to be no trespassing, and then do what he just did to me, I have a problem with it as an American citizen. For a person that I wouldn't have fought for and injured for it. Y'all just made a bad mark on the Panama City Police, because at first I thought y'all had some great people around here. But your captain just f***ed that up.
Anything else?
Nope, that's all I need to know right there. So I can get with my attorneys and we'll go from there. Thank you guys. Have a good day.
Have a better day.
I'm going to try to.
After the encounter, the Panama City Police Department reviewed the incident and determined that Mr. Sample's detainment did not violate department policies. However, the department did conclude that Sergeant Larimore violated the department's speech policy and ordered him to receive more training. Mr. Sample shared the body camera footage on his YouTube channel in July of 2022 and indicated in a comment that he was looking for an attorney to file a lawsuit. It is unclear whether Mr. Sample was ever able to find a lawyer to take his case, but I was unable to locate any lawsuit filings in either the federal or state court public records. Overall, Captain Larimore gets an F. for entering a property without a warrant, consent, or exigent circumstances, likely unlawfully detaining and handcuffing Mr. Sample, suggesting that he should arrest Mr. Sample for resisting and refusing to identify when he did not have probable cause to do so, and explicitly threatening to quote-unquote kill Mr. Sample's dog for simply barking. Now, while the other Panama City officers also get an F for their complicity in Captain Larimore's conduct, Captain Larimore actively demonstrated either a complete ignorance of or a total disregard for the protections provided by the Fourth Amendment and the limitations on when the officers have the legal authority to enter property, detain citizens, and demand identification. Captain Larimore's threats to the dog can only be described as unhinged, and the totality of his behavior during this encounter gives me great concerns about whether he has the appropriate temperament to be an effective law enforcement officer. Mr. Sample gets an A+ for maintaining a calm and respectful demeanor throughout the encounter, challenging the officer's actions while also complying with orders, and attempting to take appropriate steps after his detainment to pursue accountability. Mr. Sample demonstrated a tremendous amount of composure during a confusing and invasive police encounter, and he responded to Captain Larimore's aggression with dignity and civility. And although Mr. Sample's not an auditor, he demonstrated a competent understanding of his constitutional rights and the steps to take during a police encounter to ensure accountability. I commend Mr. Sample for his self-control and ability to remain calm, for remembering to obtain the name and badge numbers of the officers involved, and for sharing the body camera footage from this encounter on his YouTube channel. Let's move on to the next interaction. In August of 2019, the owner of the One Bad Vet YouTube channel, who we will refer to as Mr. Vet, was riding his motorcycle in Ramona, California when he was pulled over by Officer Paredes of the California Highway Patrol. Mr. Vet filmed the interaction that followed and shared it on his YouTube channel.
Good, how are you?
You can't be passing on the right like that, dude. You're allowed to split lanes, but you can't pass on the right.
Does it say that in the statute?
Statute of what?
For lane splitting, lane sharing.
Yeah, you can't pass on the right, bro. It's
okay. Does it say that in the lane sharing statute?
I don't know what the lane sharing statute is.
So the rules governing.
There's not 2 lanes. So if there's 2 lanes, so let's just say.
I'm gonna reach for my phone. Don't get. But go ahead, I'm listening to you.
Yeah, so if there's 2 lanes and you're illegally, you're allowed to split the 2 lanes. Does that make sense?
Okay.
There's not 2 lanes here. There's only 1.
Okay.
Pass on the right.
Okay.
So I need your license, registration, insurance, please.
All right, hold on 1 second. Hey, come here for a second. This is the DMV website. California law does not allow or prohibit motorcycles from passing other vehicles proceeding in the same direction within the same lane. Within the same lane. It has nothing to do with 2 lanes. I was within the same lane. I wasn't past the white line.
All right, I'm not gonna argue, man. Can you read that again? I'm sorry.
Sure. Well, here, you read it right there. California law does not allow or prohibit, that means I'm allowed to do it, from passing other vehicles proceeding in the same direction within the same lane. A practice often called lane splitting, lane sharing, or filtering. Lane sharing has absolutely 0 to do with 2 lanes. I did not break the law.
All right, can I see your license, registration, insurance?
Okay, what is your cause for pulling me over and asking for my information?
Unsafe passing within the lane, dude.
No, I'm just showing you the law.
Bro, listen to me. I'm not here to argue with you. I just need your license, registration, insurance, okay?
Okay, and I'm asking you for what purpose?
I just told you, because you're passing vehicles within the same lane on the right.
That's allowed.
Unsafe passing on the right. I'm not talking about lane splitting. You're not splitting lanes. You're passing vehicles on the right.
Okay. This literally just says lane sharing.
About that, I'm talking about splitting lanes on the right. You're not allowed to pass vehicles on the right.
Show me where it says where I have to do it on the left or right.
Let me see your license, registration.
Okay, and I'm merely asking you the cause for asking for that. In order for you to ask me for that information, I have to have broken the law, correct?
Correct.
Okay, great. Correct. Thank you. Great. Okay, this is being recorded. So, if I have to provide you my information, I want to know what law I broke, because I clearly just showed to you. This is from the California DMV.
Bro,
you are misinterpreting and misunderstanding the law, man.
There's also a law that says you cannot pass unsafely on the right.
Okay, so I have this on tape. Show me where I passed unsafely.
I will. Let me see your license, registration, and...
So, again, what law did I break?
I just explained it to you.
You didn't. I just explained to you I'm allowed to do that. Has nothing to do with two lanes.
Let me explain lane splitting to you.
I just did.
Let me explain it to you.
Oh.
Okay? If you've got 2 lanes or more, all right?
Which doesn't say here, right?
If you've got 2 lanes or more,
okay,
in one direction, and you go in between the lanes, whether you're in the lane to the right or the left, so you're sharing the lane, or you're on the dividing broken white lines, that would be splitting the lanes. Does that make sense?
Okay, hold on. But see, the thing is, right, and where you're wrong, okay, that's your interpretation of it. That's not what the black and white says. And look, take your glasses off, and I'm gonna get off my bike. Is that all right? Okay. Why don't we read this? Here, I'll blow it up so you can read it. It even says, man, listen, within the same lane. It has nothing to do with 2 lanes.
With lane splitting, though, we're not talking about lane splitting here.
Hey, I'm talking about what the law says.
But you're looking at this as lane splitting. There's no 2 lanes to split, my man. You understand that? There are no 2 lanes to be splitting here.
Mr. Vet argues that lane splitting includes passing vehicles to the right in a single lane, whereas Officer Paredes contends that lane splitting only refers to riding a motorcycle between 2 lanes of traffic moving in the same direction. The term lane splitting, which can also be known as lane sharing, filtering, or white lining, generally refers to the process of a motorcyclist riding between lanes of stopped or slower moving traffic. In 2016, California legislators passed Assembly Bill 51, which was codified in Section 21658.1 of the California Vehicle Code, defining lane splitting as, now quoting, driving a motorcycle that has 2 wheels in contact with the ground between rows of stopped or moving vehicles in the same lane, including on both divided and undivided streets, roads, or highways. Now, the language of AB 51 makes it seem that this statute was intended to define lane splitting as driving between 2 lanes of traffic moving in the same direction, as the Legislative Council's Digest refers to the fact that, now quoting, existing law requires, whenever a roadway has been divided into 2 or more clearly marked lanes for traffic in one direction, that a vehicle be driven as nearly as practical entirely within a single lane. However, the language of the actual statute is ambiguous, as it states that a motorcycle can be driven between rows of vehicles in the same lane. Notably, Section 21754 of the California Vehicle Code does allow vehicles to pass on the right within the same lane, now quoting, upon a highway within a business or residence district with unobstructed pavement of sufficient width for 2 or more lines of moving vehicles in the direction of travel, while Section 21755 also requires drivers to pass on the right, quote, only under conditions permitting that movement in safety. Well, accordingly, due to the lack of clarity and apparent inconsistency in the California Traffic Code, it is impossible to say whether a court would agree with Mr. Vet's definition of legal lane splitting or the officer's.
Okay, so show me right there where it says it has to be 2 lanes.
Bro, are you splitting lanes?
I'm sharing. Hold on.
Sharing the lane.
Yes, look, right there as it says, lane sharing.
Right.
Sharing.
While you're splitting lanes.
No. That's not what it says. It says, look right there, lane sharing.
I'm gonna make this so simple for you, man. Give me your license, registration, insurance. I will look it up to clarify and show you.
I'm showing you right here.
Bro, you're looking at the DMV web. There's vehicle code. Okay.
Okay.
Vehicle code. Let me look it up and I'll explain it to you better.
Okay.
How does that sound, man?
All right, I'll tell you what. Why don't you look it up, and if I broke the law, not your interpretation of it, if you need to get a sergeant or somebody else here, do so. I'll gladly hand you my information.
Yep, sounds good. Your time, buddy. On your time.
Hey, no, your time. I'm not breaking the law, man. It's black and white. Here's some more clarification for you, okay? Sorry, I didn't mean to touch it. All right, AB 51, into law, which define lane splitting as driving a motorcycle as two wheels in contact with the ground between rows of stopped or moving vehicles in the same lane. Doesn't matter. I can be in the same lane as long as did you see me over the white line at all?
On the shoulder, no.
Okay, great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
exactly, yeah.
I was not on the shoulder.
You're good.
Including on both divided and undivided streets, roads, or highways. That's AB 51.
Okay.
I did not violate the law.
Cool, man. Dude, just wait up there for me, brother.
Okay.
Hey, so, dude, I'm reading the law.
Yep.
Vehicle code.
Hold on. Yep.
First of all, before we even get there, man, my intention of stopping you was because it was for safety issues, right? I mean, you're passing cars to the right. If a vehicle had to slam on the brakes and turn right and they hit you, whatever. Just like you're splitting lanes, right?
Yep.
It's dangerous.
Thank you. I was just about to say that's the same. It's the risk that I'm taking.
It is.
But within the law.
But reading the law, it is not clearly stated as far as whether or not you could be passing on the right in one lane or two. All right, so I just called my supervisor.
Okay.
And he's like, hey, dude, I don't know anything about that because I never write it because it's not clearly written in law.
Sure
right?
it is.
Well, it's not.
No, except it is.
Well, except it doesn't clarify whether or not you're allowed to pass. Well, it says in the same lane, but lane splitting, in my interpretation, okay, lane splitting is you got two or more lanes in the same direction and you're going in between the lanes, right? But the law says within two or more rows of traffic in the same lane.
No, it's not what it says.
Yeah, it does, man.
No, it does not. Trust me, you're not the first officer I've had this interaction with, and every result is typically the same. I walk away, no ticket, I don't have to give my license and registration because I haven't broken the law. It says same lane. I know what you're saying. That's what the general public thinks. It is poorly written. So am I getting a ticket? Did I break the law?
Well, what I just told you, my man, is that my intention was never to actually give you a ticket.
Then why did you ask me for my registration and insurance?
Because I have to document all my contacts. Okay, I have to document my contacts.
If I broke the law?
Well,
you have my info. It's right there on my plate.
All I'm asking is for your identification so I can record my stop with you.
Oh, you've got a recording of it.
All right, man.
You've got a dash cam.
Whatever,
no, what do you mean whatever?
It's all good. You don't have to give me. It's all good.
You're right. I don't. So I'm asking you though. Did I break the law today? Yes or no?
Yeah. Like I just explained to you. Originally, my interpretation was yes, you did. But now I'm reading the section, and it's not clearly stated.
So if there's no statute for me to violate, I didn't break the law, correct? I didn't put anyone at risk. I didn't impede anybody. I didn't hit anybody.
All right, hang tight, man.
Am I free to go?
No, you're not.
So you're gonna go back and look for something to cite me? Okay.
Mr. Vett repeatedly refuses to provide his driver's license, claiming that he did not violate the law, and Officer Paredes continues to detain him after investigating the statute and deciding not to issue a citation. Section 12951 of the California Vehicle Code states that, quote, "The driver of a motor vehicle shall present his or her license for examination upon demand of a peace officer enforcing the provisions of this code." Likewise, in the 2015 case of Rodriguez versus United States, the Supreme Court determined that officers are permitted to perform certain tasks during a traffic stop, such as checking the driver's license, determining whether there are outstanding warrants against the driver, and inspecting the automobile's registration and proof of insurance. The court reasoned that these checks, which it referred to as the quote-unquote ordinary inquiries incident to the traffic stop, now quoting, serve the same objective as enforcement of the traffic code, ensuring that vehicles on the road are operated safely and responsibly. However, as we have discussed before here on ATA, in order for a traffic stop stop and these related checks to be lawful, the initiating officer must at least have reasonable suspicion to believe that a traffic violation or criminal offense has occurred. As we explored earlier in this episode, it is unclear whether Mr. Vett violated California traffic law. Nonetheless, this does not mean that a court would conclude that the traffic stop itself was unlawful. Traffic stops are based on the officer's assessment at the time, which only requires reasonable suspicion of a violation, not definitive proof of guilt. Even if the driver is later found not guilty or acquitted of the violation, it does not retroactively invalidate the officer's decision to make the stop if it was reasonable under the circumstances. Additionally, in the 2014 case of Hine versus North Carolina, the Supreme Court held that a police officer's reasonable mistake of law could still justify a traffic stop under the Fourth Amendment. In this case, an officer pulled over a driver for having only one working brake light, mistakenly believing that state law required two functioning brake lights. The court determined that reasonable suspicion can rest on a mistaken understanding of the scope of a legal prohibition, and that, now quoting, because the officer's mistake about the brake light law was reasonable, the stop in this case was lawful under the Fourth Amendment. Therefore, even if Officer Paredes was mistaken about the legality of Mr. Vett's actions, it seems likely that a court would conclude that he still had the reasonable suspicion necessary to initiate the traffic stop, given the ambiguity of California's lane-splitting laws, and therefore that he was within his authority to demand Mr. Vett's license as part of the so-called ordinary inquiries of the traffic stop. As the Supreme Court of California noted in the 1979 case of People versus McGuckran, even in situations where an officer decides not to issue a citation, quote, the officer is still entitled to examine the driver's license and registration before permitting him to go his way. And while officers may not extend a traffic stop without independent, reasonable suspicion of criminal activity, not only is refusing to provide a driver's license during a lawful traffic stop a violation of Section 12951 of the California Vehicle Code, in the 2019 case of People versus Ruiz, the 4th District Court of Appeal of California noted that, quote, a driver's inability to produce a driver's license or registration provides a justifiable basis to extend the duration of the stop. As such, it is probable that a court would conclude that Officer Paredes did not unlawfully extend the traffic stop or otherwise violate the Fourth Amendment by continuing to detain Mr. Vett after he decided not to issue a citation.
I know you guys got a job to do, but this is frustration. He clearly read it. I haven't violated the law. I've got it on camera. Hey, you guys have a tough job, trust me, I get it. Yes, I do. In California? Yes, I have a license. What law did I break? No, that's not true. I'm telling you I have one. See, no, hold on. Because you just went back to try and dig up something now and try and validate. You know who I am. I'm telling you I have an active driver's license. So it's duly registered. You know that it is. It's up to date. It wouldn't have been registered if I didn't have a license. I have a license. I'm active duty military. I am out of state. Am I free to go?
No, you're not, man. All I'm asking for is if you say you have a license, you have a license. I'll let you go. But if you can't provide that statement information to me, then I have nowhere to go, man. Does that make sense?
Sure. If you pulled me over for a valid stop, which right now we've already established this isn't a valid stop. You went back.
The stop is valid, man. The stop, it's a valid stop.
No, it's not.
It's a valid stop.
You just
You're
said
passing
yourself.
cars on the right. In my opinion, it's unsafe passing vehicles on the right, whether it's lane splitting or not. You're not getting a ticket for that. All I'm asking for is for some ID. The records show you don't have a license. You're saying, well, you have a license out of state, but I still don't want to provide it because your stop was illegitimate.
That's right.
Which in your opinion, okay, but in the law, it's not, okay? So is the vehicle going to get towed, or are you going to provide me with your information?
I'll tell you what, if you want to tow it, then we can end up in court. Okay. That's fine. Go for it. Get a supervisor here, get somebody else here. I'll call my lawyer. Right. Because you're not, you already know who I am. What information do you want? You're fishing, trying to find something out.
All right, man, everything's good to go. Everything checks out. You see how easy that was?
Well, hey.
All you do is show me your license, man.
No, I don't. I don't have to show you my license. What crime did I commit? What crime did I commit?
We're done here, brother.
Great. So 4 officers, all these resources for a crime that never got committed. And you learned something. Hey, man, you guys stay safe. Have a good day.
The officers eventually allowed Mr. Vet to leave without checking his driver's license or issuing any citations. According to Mr. Vet, who was active duty Navy at the time of this encounter, the traffic stop resulted in a call to the Naval Criminal Investigative Service, who then called his commanding officer. Mr. Vet did not face any disciplinary action, but he also claims that Officer Paredes has targeted him since this encounter and pulled him over to allegedly harass him and issue a questionable ticket. Overall, Officer Paredes gets a B, because although he struggled to articulate himself at times during the encounter and he did not maintain the most professional demeanor, he likely remained within his legal authority throughout the duration of the interaction. While the California law on lane splitting is ambiguous, a court would likely find that the initial traffic stop, his demands for Mr. Vet's driver's license, and his extension of the traffic stop after Mr. Vet refused to provide his driver's license were all lawful. However, I should note that I have not considered Mr. Vet's allegations regarding Officer Paredes' conduct after the traffic stop in assigning this grade, as I cannot speak to the veracity of these claims. But if these allegations are true, they are highly concerning, and they should be addressed by the California Highway Patrol. Mr. Vet also gets a B, because although he did an excellent job advocating for his understanding of the California lane splitting law and attempting to enforce his rights, it is probable that a court would conclude that he was required to display his driver's license to Officer Paredes as part of the traffic stop. Throughout the encounter, Mr. Vet repeatedly argued that he does not have to show his license because he did not violate the law. However, it is well established that officers can lawfully demand that a driver display their license during a traffic stop that is supported by reasonable suspicion, regardless of whether or not the law was actually violated. This distinction is one that auditors commonly misunderstand, so it is perfectly reasonable that Mr. Vet, not being an auditor, would make the same mistake. I commend Mr. Vet for his willingness to fight for and defend his constitutional rights, and I encourage him to continue to learn about the scope of those rights. Let us know if there's an interaction or legal topic that you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out my second channel for even more police interaction content.